Welcome back everyone to the second in our lab lesson series. I'm back with Lee Kennedy, our senior formulation chemist, and today we're going to be talking about our citrus all-purpose cleaner and our iron and fallout remover. So first things first, Lee, citrus all-purpose cleaners. There's a lot of all-purpose cleaners out there, but what separates Gtechniq's citrus all-purpose cleaner from the rest?
So with our all-purpose cleaner, it's been designed as a pre-washed decontamination product. So when we talk about that, what this product does, it contains surfactants, which we touched on before in previous videos.
They're the bits that clean.
Yeah, they clean, and they clean that by emulsifying. But it also contains a solvent. So a lot of people get scared when they hear the word solvent because they think of nasty flammable chemicals. This isn't the case here. A solvent, from a chemist's point of view, is something that simply dissolves something. And the solvent used here comes from, it's a citrus oil, so it comes from the orange peels. So it's a natural biodegradable product, but it's also a phenomenal degreaser. So what this product does is it starts breaking down, dissolving and emulsifying any grease that's around the car. Now this grease can be holding aggregate particles on the side of your car. So the reason you do this as a pre-wash is that it's removing these aggregate particles before you contact wash. Because you don't want to be going around the car when there's little bits of stone or any hard mud or anything with a wash mitt for a contact wash, because that'll put mar and scratching into the paintwork, which makes it look dull and improves the visual look of your car. So,
okay. So a top tip, I guess, with the citrus all-purpose cleaner is you want to put it on dry, really. You don't really want to wet the paint first, do you?
No, you can go around with a pressure washer or hose first, which will knock off any loose lying dirt. And then go around. You can just apply it straight on dry or wet. It's, you know, because there's water in the product as itself, and then that will start breaking down anything that's on there.
And because it's citrus based, it's a not high, but a fairly high-ish pH, isn't it? It's not the misconception around pH neutral. This has quite a high pH, isn't it? This
is pH 10 to 12. The way the pH scale works is that every time you go up a number, it's 10 times more concentrated. So even though pH 12, which is the upper end of the specification for this product, is quite high, it's completely coating and components safe. So we've tested this endlessly. It's been a product that's been out being used commercially for a long time. So we know it's not going to do any damage. It's not going to cause any discoloration or any rusting or corrosion to any.
It's not going to degrade coatings or other products that might have been pre-applied to it.
No, not at all. So even though it is a high pH, that just makes it more efficient in breaking down the grease that's on there.
And because it's got that citrus oil in it, it's actually it's a really versatile product. So you could use it, you know, like you said, on the bottom of your sills, around your arches, on your tyres, interior. Is it okay on your interior?
Potentially, yes, if you wanted to use it on your interior. We do have other interior products that also have antimicrobial additives in them as well. So we'd probably advise you to go more down that line. But if you only had a bottle of this and you wanted to clean up the interior of your car.
Like clean your carpets, for example, I'm thinking.
Yeah, so that works just as well.
Under the engine bay, you know, there's no surface, it won't clean.
No, certainly not. Like, so we've tested it on all the different materials that get used in the majority of cars. Obviously we advise people testing it for themselves in an inconspicuous area, but we're very confident there won't be any issues with this, and it's a really good cleaner. It's going to clean any part of the car, really.
Well, you mentioned a decontamination wash earlier. It's kind of partner in crime is the iron and fallout remover. Now this actually is although it says iron and fallout remover, it's a cracking wheel cleaner. Yes.
The majority of the iron fallout build-up is going to be on your wheels because it's coming from your brake discs. So there are two active ingredients in this. One, there are surfactants and detergents to help break down grease and help emulsify everything. But there's also a chemical called sodium thioglycolate, which actually reacts with the iron and turns it purple. So anyone that's used this product will have seen this effect. It's not a gimmick. It's an actual chemical reaction. So what it is, it reduces the oxidation state of the iron. So when the iron is in the higher oxidation state, it's insoluble, so it won't dissolve into water. When it reacts and turns purple, it dissolves into water. It's almost a bleeding effect that you'll see as it dissolves. So that makes it much more easy to remove.
So it starts to loosen it. So the last thing you want to be doing is getting a wash mitt and dragging it across, a rough feeling or any sort of iron that's there.
These are very, very small particles, but they're essentially iron filings that are stuck all over your wheels, and it can be on your paintwork as well. And if you go around, especially if you do this on a white car, the amount of purple that comes off it is quite pronounced. If you go over those iron particles with a wash mitt, with a contact wash, and they loosen, they're going to start scratching the surface of your paintwork and putting in a lot of mar and a lot of damage, which is going to lead to all swirl marks and just make your paint look dull and unattractive. So this just breaks it down chemically and then removes them all, so they're not there when you come to your contact wash.
Okay, and I think anyone that's used this product, they've cracked the top of the bottle to get a sniff, and there's quite a pungent smell with it.
What is that? Strongly advised against smelling it. It's not the smell itself isn't particularly hazardous, but it's very unpleasant. So it smells like rotten eggs. That's because sodium thioglycolate, the term thio, refers to a sulfur-based compound. So the smell of rotten eggs is hydrogen sulfide. So it's very similar chemistry that gives a very similar smell. Like I say, it's unpleasant, but it is necessary. We could put either perfumes or odor neutralizers in there, but we kind of feel they're unnecessary.
So it's part of the product. I mean, it's the reason.
It's part of the product. If it smells that way, you know it's working. And as well, we don't want to put anything in there that isn't necessary to clean your car. So we try to avoid using perfumes or anything like that.
Okay, and I guess the same things apply to wheels. So if you're washing a wheel, wash on a cool wheel in the shade.
Yes, yeah. If you've just been out for a spirited drive, leave it a little while. Simply, you'll dry off all the water that's in there too quickly, and that can lead to some residue being left behind. So I always like your brake disc cool down before you start using the product.
Leading into brake discs, now there's a lot of cars out there nowadays. Every single car obviously has brake discs now, but there's some that we don't recommend using the product on.
Yes, so we advise against its use on ceramic brakes. Firstly, ceramic brakes don't produce iron fallout because they're not iron or steel brakes. Secondly, as well, the residue can be a bit harder to remove from a ceramic brake, which can lead to a bit of loss of braking power within the first, say, 5-10 minutes of driving. Or you'd have to spend extensive time with the pressure washer just hosing off to remove it when it isn't actually necessary. If you have ceramic brakes, I just advise using the general purpose cleaner. That will remove any dirt and grease that's building up on there, because you won't have hardly any, if any at all, of the iron fallout.
Okay, so it's just, use the citrus all-purpose cleaner just to, instead of that fallout remover. Okay, so in terms of leaving the product on the surface, you mentioned you don't really want to put it on a hot surface anyway. How long do we recommend typically leaving these products on the surface to dwell for?
Around 5 to 10 minutes, again, out of direct sunlight, just to give them enough time to remove as much dirt and iron fallout as they can do. After 5 to 10 minutes, you're not going to be getting, it's diminished returns by this point. So advise that, and then you just rinse them off with your hose or your pressure washer, and then you can move on to the next stage of your wash.
I mean, in a nutshell, if that's made your wheel really purple, it's done its thing, so it's ready to hose off.
You'll see that effect happening within a couple of minutes of application.
Okay, and then just around some delicate surfaces, because there are some vehicles with delicate surfaces, Porsches, Mercedes. Can you give us a little bit of a guide around what to do and what not to do?
Porsche, Mercedes, some of the recent models, they do have this bare aluminium hub in the centre of the wheel. Now, the alternative to a sodium thioglycolate based wheel cleaner would be an acidic based one, which will do more damage to these sort of surfaces. But even still, if you do have any slightly obscure materials, either test in a very non-conspicuous area or just pick up the phone and ask us for your advice. Like I say, we've got a good customer service team here and a good technical support team as well. So if anyone's unsure about whether they could be using this product, the best advice is just to ring Gtechniq, and we'll give you the best advice.
Okay. I mean, if you do get the product on there, it's not the end of the world. They might notice a slight bit of sort of whitening.
Yes, yeah. So aluminium oxidizes, and that gives you that very sort of white, sort of opaque look to it, rather than a shinier finish. So that's what would happen if you left it on there.
Okay, but I suppose if in doubt, back to the old faithful citrus all-purpose cleaner.
Yeah, this can go onto any surface. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Lee. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop any comments below if we've missed anything, and we'll do our best to answer them. Thanks.